Cassie just name-dropped a person that no one expected.
You mentioned certain sessions had VIPs. Can you clarify who you meant?
People with influence, celebrities, people with power.
Can you tell us, like, who?
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, the talk show host?
Yes, he was a regular.
The moment those words left her mouth, insiders say the entire courtroom was completely shocked. But that was just the beginning, because Cassie didn't stop there. What she revealed next, that I'm about to show you, dragged this trial into even darker territory.
When she testifies, they're probably gonna go so much in depth. Remember, a lot of this, it's gonna be getting crazy in court too.
DJ Academics called it, "This trial is getting crazy." But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected Cassie to name Steve Harvey as a regular in Diddy's infamous freak-offs. Yeah, that's Steve Harvey. And what she claimed he did in there, let's just say the whole courtroom flipped. You're not ready for this one, let's get into it. Steve Harvey's name surfaces in court testimony. The streets is hot with that Diddy case, and now they dragging Steve Harvey's name through the mud too. The Fed's been building this RICO case against Bad Boy's head honcho, and suddenly Family Feud man getting caught in the crossfire. That's wild, no cap. According to these receipts the internet detectives dug up, Uncle Steve was allegedly posted up at Mad Diddy functions over the years. We ain't talking about them corny industry mixers neither. These was them freak-offs, where everybody who was anybody in the game showed face. The type of functions where security confiscating phones at the door and what happens inside stays inside, feel me? The most Zeus thing about all this is how Harvey was moving once Diddy got knocked. On September 23rd, 2024, this man straight up deleted a tweet from 2017 where he was gassing up Diddy, calling him my brother, and talking about Diddy doing a world of good for these kids. Bruh, that tweet aged like milk left out in the ATL summer heat. Harvey ain't the only one scrubbing his socials either. The Express Tribune caught mad celebs purging their Diddy connections once the indictment dropped. They moving like they all got the same delete everything text in the group chat when them feds kicked in Diddy's door. That's hella suspicious if you ask anybody with sense. The internet got folks posting clips and screenshots claiming to show Harvey at these gatherings alongside other industry heavyweights like Oprah and Kevin Hart. But so far ain't nobody produced that smoking gun connecting Harvey directly to any of the grimy activities Diddy allegedly had going on. Harvey probably gonna claim he was just networking, but the way he moving makes it look like there's more to the story than he letting on. Y'all gotta understand, Diddy's parties was legendary in these streets. His white parties in the Hamptons from 98 to 09 was the ultimate flexes. Vibe magazine documented these joints and the guest list was insane. We talking Jay-Z, Beyonce, Leo DiCaprio, and even Donald Trump before he went full MAGA. These wasn't just parties. They was power moves where deals got made and careers got launched. But now the Fed saying behind all that champagne and white linen was some real dark activities that got Diddy facing life in the Fed joint. This situation got so mainstream that SNL had Kenan Thompson playing Harvey, joking,
"I am Steve Harvey, and I have spent the past 20 years hosting every show on TV as my alibi for them Diddy parties."
When Saturday Night Live roasting you about possibly being connected to federal crimes, you know your PR team working overtime. Social media been going off with some wild conspiracy theories too. You got accounts like at Melissa Redpill out here claiming satanic rituals with children and dropping Harvey's name in the mix. But that's cap. Ain't no evidence backing that nonsense up. Snopes had to step in to shut down similar crazy talk. Some folks just be making stuff up for clout, and that's big facts. If we keeping it a buck, Harvey was probably just like dozens of other celebrities who rolled through Diddy's events over the years. The Jamie Forum list shows Harvey was at charity functions and Hollywood parties with mad other famous folks, so it ain't like he was in Diddy's inner circle necessarily. He might have just been another industry face in the crowd. The biggest question everybody wondering, what did Steve Harvey actually see at these functions? And is he gonna have to testify? Cassie Ventura's testimony been painting a picture that's straight out a horror movie, talking about coercion, abuse, and them notorious freak-offs that supposedly went down at some of Diddy's private gatherings. That's got people side-eyeing everybody who was ever photographed with Diddy, Harvey included. When Cassie took the stand 8 months pregnant, which is crazy in itself, she laid out patterns of control and manipulation that allegedly went on behind closed doors. Court docs show she described being forced to participate in them freak-offs, basically drug-fueled orgies with male escorts that Diddy allegedly directed and sometimes recorded. That tea spilled all over the courtroom, and now anybody who might have witnessed such activities catching strays in the court of public opinion. So far, Harvey keeping it mute, ain't made no public statements statements about his relationship with Diddy or any of these allegations. He playing it cool like he ain't even heard about the trial. But that deleted tweet tell a different story. Mans is clearly trying to distance himself from the whole situation, same as a bunch of other celebs who used to be all in Diddy's comments. Showing love. The crazy part about all this is how Harvey built his whole brand on being family friendly and wholesome. Mans be out here hosting game shows, writing relationship books, and giving advice to the youth. That clean-cut image don't exactly match with what prosecutors saying was going down at some of Diddy's functions. No wonder Harvey moving funny. This association could mess up his whole bag. As this trial keeps unfolding, Harvey just one of many celebs watching from the sidelines and probably sweating bullets, hoping their names don't come up in testimony. Whether Harvey gonna eventually have to speak on his relationship with Diddy is still up in the air, but just being associated with dude right now got the potential to damage reputation. Social media really changed the game when it comes to documenting relationships. Old posts that seemed innocent back in the day hit different now that we got all these allegations flying around. A friendly pic or supportive tweet from years back suddenly looking mighty suspicious when viewed through today's lens, regardless of what the real situation was at the time. The prosecution, headed by them sharks from the Southern District of New York, built their case mainly around testimony from alleged victims and evidence they scooped during them raids on Diddy's cribs, while they focusing on establishing Diddy as the kingpin of an alleged criminal enterprise. All the celebs who moved in his circle could potentially provide context about what was really going on and who knew what. For Harvey, the next few weeks gonna determine whether his connection to Diddy stays just an awkward association or turns into something more serious. If he gets called to testify, he gonna face some tough questions about what he witnessed and whether he knew about any alleged illegal activities. So far, Harvey keeping his lips sealed tighter than a new pair of J's, neither confirming nor denying specific allegations about his attendance at particular events. This whole case, bigger than just the individuals directly involved, it's sparking real conversations about celebrity culture, power dynamics in the entertainment industry, and how fame and money can potentially shield problematic behavior for years. As more details drop through testimony and evidence presented at trial, the public reassessing not just Diddy's legacy, but also the reputations of those who moved in his influential orbit, including Steve Harvey. Inside the notorious freak-off parties, the real talk about this Diddy case ain't about his regular star-studded functions where everybody was popping bottles and flexing for the gram. Nah, what got the feds building this whole RICO case is them so-called freak-off parties, private gatherings that allegedly went way beyond your average turn-up and into some dark territory that got prosecutors throwing around heavy charges like sex trafficking and racketeering. According to the federal indictment against Combs, these wasn't your average house parties where the neighbors might call 12 because the music too loud. These freak-off joints was reportedly elaborate multi-day sexual events that Diddy allegedly orchestrated personally. Unlike his famous white parties, where celebrities flexed for the paparazzi, these functions was supposedly on some super secretive tip with a much more sinister purpose. The way these gatherings was set up, according to court docs, shows they was organized like a military operation. Combs' team reportedly booked hotel suites stocked with all types of narcotics, ketamine, coke, not just some mid, gallons of baby oil, lubricants, extra bed sheets, and professional camera equipment for recording everything. This wasn't no amateur hour. Diddy's people allegedly handled everything from booking flights for participants to paying sex workers and even scheduling IV drips afterwards so everybody could recover from the marathon sessions. Cassie Ventura, who was with Combs for years, took the stand with testimony that had the whole courtroom shook. During the May 2025 proceedings, she broke down exactly how these freak-offs supposedly went down, and it was mad systematic.
And she says that they would get extra linens, and we've heard this story, but she said that, because we heard before that there were extra linens because
of Dookie on the sheets.
So what she said was she was actually made to have freak-offs during her period, and so there would be blood on a lot of the sheets, and she said she didn't want to do that.
Ventura broke it all the way down, saying these events followed a step-by-step process, starting with what she called descriptive foreplay, where folks would do their thing while narrating everything they were seeing.
Yeah, but she broke the freak-offs down in steps as well. She said that the first step was there was like and they would have to do. It would be her and an escort, and she would have to talk out loud and describe what she was seeing. She would have to be very descriptive because allegedly Puff would want to hear that.
The second step, according to what Ventura testified, involved getting physical and using mad baby oil, which she claimed Diddy was obsessed with.
Baby oil. She said that they would oil up so much. That was like a big thing for Puff, allegedly. Like, you had to be oiled, that every 5 minutes they were like just re-oiling because
he wants you to look like a shiny suit.
Yeah, because it glistens, and I guess it's the sexiness
steps of...
The rest of the steps involved increasingly wild sexual activities, with Ventura claiming she often tried to rush through them because she didn't want to do this, but was just doing it because she was so in love, and she said she didn't want him to go and do it with anybody else. The most disturbing part was allegations about degrading practices, including making people urinate on participants.
Opened up our testimony, or our opening statement, the prosecutors, talking about, you alleging that there was a male escort that was made to pee, or I'm sorry, that was made to urinate on you.
You can say pee.
When they asked her why she ain't just say no or bounce during these incidents, Ventura explained the power dynamics and intimidation she allegedly experienced.
And she said that not only would the escorts do it, allegedly Puff would join in as well. And she said when it would get to a point where it was too much for her, sometimes he would tell the escorts, Puff would tell the escorts allegedly like, yo, all right, let's stop, let's chill. So they asked her like, why wouldn't you just tell them to stop yourself? And she said, I'm laying on the floor, allegedly intoxicated by all these things, and it's two men standing over me. What am I going to do?
What makes all this extra foul is the coercion element that prosecutors keep highlighting. According to court documents, Diddy allegedly used force, threats, and coercion to make victims participate in these events. The indictment details instances where Combs reportedly abused, threatened, and coerced women to fulfill his sexual desires and keep everything on the low. BBC News reporting says victims allegedly caught beatings, including getting hit, kicked, and having objects thrown at them, resulting in injuries that sometimes took weeks to heal. One of the most damning pieces of evidence in the case is surveillance footage from 2016 showing Diddy physically assaulting Ventura at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. This footage, which the judge allowed as evidence in the trial, backs up at least some of the violence Ventura and others alleged. In the video, Diddy can be seen chasing Ventura down, grabbing her, and straight wilding out.
Diddy's then-girlfriend Cassie is trying to get onto an elevator when the music mogul, wearing just a white towel and socks, chases her down, grabs her by the back of the head, and throws her to the ground. Her body gone limp, Diddy kicks her in the back of the leg. He then grabs her bags before kicking her again, and in yet another brutal attack, tries to drag her out of the room.
After this video leaked, Diddy dropped an apology, acknowledging his actions, but not admitting to the broader pattern of abuse the prosecutors alleging.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it.
The tea about these freak-off parties ain't just coming from Cassie either. Daniel Phillip, a male escort who participated in these events, took the stand and backed up her story, talking about his involvement from 2012 to 2014. Court records show Phillip testified that he got paid between $700 and $6,000 per session to get busy with Ventura, while Diddy watched and handled his business. These supposedly went down in Manhattan hotels and private residences. Phillip's testimony also confirmed allegations of physical abuse, saying he witnessed Diddy putting hands on Ventura multiple times, including throwing a glass bottle at her, hitting her, and dragging her by her hair. In one instance, Phillip recalled Diddy going off on Ventura, saying, "Bitch, when I tell you to come, you come now, not later." Phillip said he ain't step in during these situations because he was scared for his own safety, believing Diddy had unlimited power, especially after Diddy allegedly snapped a pic of Phillip's driver's license as what felt like a threat. The heavy drug use at these events has been mentioned by pretty much every witness. Ventura described the parties involving all types of substances: ecstasy, coke, weed, ketamine, and shrooms. The drugs allegedly served two purposes: creating a wild atmosphere while also making participants more compliant and less likely to resist what Diddy wanted. Ventura testified that she frequently used drugs during these events to dissociate from what was happening to her. When the feds raided Diddy's cribs in Miami and LA in March 2024, they found physical evidence backing up these allegations. According to reports from KTVU, authorities seized over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, narcotics, including cocaine, oxy, and meth, and firearms, including 3 AR-15s with the serial numbers scratched off. These items match up with descriptions of supplies used during the freak-off parties. The level of organization behind all this suggests what prosecutors calling a criminal enterprise. The indictment connects the freak-off parties to broader allegations of racketeering, listing activities including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and drug distribution supposedly going on from 2004 to 2024. This portrayal of a systematic operation is completely different from how Diddy's defense team trying to spin it. Diddy's lawyers have strongly denied the criminal nature of these gatherings, claiming they involved consensual activities between adults who knew what they were signing up for. According to reporting from Rolling Stone, the defense claims that videos provided by victim 1, obviously Ventura, show fully consenting adults who appear happy, dominant, and in control. They arguing these videos prove there wasn't no coercion or trafficking, and have asked for electronic copies to prepare their defense. In a resurfaced 2002 interview with Conan O'Brien, Diddy made comments about his party tactics that hit different now with all these allegations flying around. In this interview, Diddy jokingly described creating environments designed to keep guests from bouncing.
If you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Hey, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
He further described manipulating the physical environment to affect how guests was behaving.
You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning?
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose.
The court presentation of evidence has been hitting hard. On May 14th, 2025, prosecutors showed 7 still images from freak-off videos showing Ventura and escorts. According to ABC News, jurors viewed these on individual screens, and you could hear a pin drop in that courtroom. Jurors was taking mad notes and looking shook at what they were seeing. Diddy himself was spotted leaning over to peep the images, showing how crucial this evidence is to the case. Judge Arun Subramanian made some big calls regarding the evidence, refusing to let them show explicit videos in court to avoid further traumatizing Ventura and another accuser they only calling Jane. The judge also shut down media requests for pool reporters to view this material, emphasizing how sensitive this evidence is. The freak-off parties represent what prosecutors describe as a systematic pattern of exploitation hiding behind celebrity privilege. The prosecution's case suggests that Diddy allegedly used his status, wealth, and influence to create environments where vulnerable individuals could be manipulated and abused, often while high or drunk, which messed with their ability to consent or resist. For Ventura and other alleged victims, the psychological impact of these experiences has clearly been devastating. During her testimony, Ventura described feeling disgusting and humiliated during these events, using drugs to cope and mentally check out from what was happening. She expressed fear of saying no to Diddy due to his anger and power, claiming the recordings of these events was later used as blackmail to keep her in line. The cultural context of these allegations is wild when you think about it. Diddy built his whole image as the ultimate host, with his public-facing white parties celebrated as symbols of hip-hop, Hollywood, and black excellence. These events attracted everybody from Russell Brand to Mariah Carey to Donald Trump. The stark contrast between this carefully crafted public image and the private behavior alleged by prosecutors represents a crazy duality that's got even industry insiders shook. In a video that's aged like milk, Diddy once predicted,
You're gonna hear about my party, they're gonna be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we want to have a good time.
This statement, which was probably just talking about permit issues at the time, now reads like dude was predicting his own downfall. As the trial continues, the freak-off parties remain the centerpiece of the prosecution's case, representing what they characterize as the operational mechanism of Diddy's alleged sex trafficking enterprise. Whether these events will ultimately be judged as criminal activities or, as the defense claims, consensual adult gatherings remains to be determined by the court. What's clear is that they represent a crazy intersection of celebrity, power, sex, and alleged exploitation that's forever changed how the public views one of hip-hop's most influential figures. Diddy's arrest and trial. The legal saga of Sean Diddy Combs gotta be one of the wildest falls from grace the industry ever witnessed. From running Bad Boy Records and being worth a billy to potentially facing life in the pen, Diddy's story reading like a cautionary tale about how the mighty can fall when the feds decide it's your time to get knocked. Diddy's legal troubles popped off publicly in November 2023 when his ex, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit with some explosive allegations about physical abuse and forcing her to participate in sexual activities with male sex workers. According to CNN reporting, this lawsuit got settled in just 24 hours for an undisclosed bag, but the damage to Diddy's rep was already in motion. This civil case was just the appetizer before the main course of legal drama headed his way. After Cassie's lawsuit, mad other accusers started coming out the woodwork with similar claims against Combs. By late 2024, over 60 civil lawsuits had been filed, containing allegations spanning decades and describing a pattern of alleged abuse, coercion, and exploitation. Some of these cases got real dark, including allegations accusations from victims as young as 9 years old, according to BBC reporting. The situation leveled up dramatically on March 25, 2024, when federal agents ran up in Combs mansions in Los Angeles and Miami. These raids, which CNN reported yielded significant evidence including drugs, straps, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, showed that Diddy was under serious federal investigation. Homeland Security investigations don't show up to your crib unless they're building a serious case. The most damaging hit to Diddy's image came on May 17, 2024, when CNN leaked surveillance video from 2016 showing him physically assaulting Ventura in a hotel hallway. The footage was brutal, showing Diddy chasing, grabbing, throwing, and kicking Ventura. In response, Diddy dropped an apology video, acknowledging his actions but not addressing the other allegations.
I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry.
It all came crashing down on September 16, 2024, when Diddy got arrested in New York City on a sealed indictment. The next day, when they unsealed it, everybody saw the charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Diddy pleaded not guilty, but got denied bail, and has been sitting in the Brooklyn MDC since then, trading his designer fits for orange jumpsuits. According to the Justice Department's statement, the indictment alleges that Diddy ran a criminal enterprise doing all types of dirt, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice from 2004 to 2024. This enterprise allegedly used intimidation, violence, and drugs to keep victims in line. These charges paint a picture of systematic exploitation rather than one-off incidents. On January 30th, 2025, a superseding indictment expanded the racketeering charges and added 2 more victims, showing the investigation was still active even after Diddy's arrest. This development suggested that the feds was still building their case and finding more alleged victims even as they prepared for trial. A major moment came on April 25, 2025, when Judge Aaron Subramanian ruled that the 2016 hotel assault footage could be shown at trial. This ruling was a big W for prosecutors, as the video provides direct visual evidence of violence that lines up with Ventura's testimony. On the same day, news dropped that Diddy had curved a plea deal, showing he intended to fight the charges all the way. The trial kicked off with jury selection on May 5, 2025. According to NBC News, picking jurors was complicated by how much media coverage the case had gotten. Potential jurors got grilled about what they knew about the case, including whether they'd seen the hotel assault video or knew about the allegations against Diddy. The jury selection process revealed how the evidence was already hitting different, with some potential jurors having strong reactions to the hotel video. One juror called it damning evidence, while another said it was shocking and scary. These responses led to some dismissals to make sure they could seat an impartial jury. A post on X noted how dramatic the jury selection was, highlighting that a juror was kicked out for calling video damning evidence. On May 12, 2025, the trial moved forward with opening statements, with Diddy maintaining his innocence. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, presented the defense's position that the freak-off parties were consensual activities between adults, part of what he characterized as a swinger lifestyle rather than criminal behavior. According to the BBC, Diddy's attorneys have argued that he is being unfairly targeted due to his race and prominence, a claim that adds another layer to an already complex case. The potential consequences for Diddy are no joke. If convicted on all counts, he faces a maximum penalty of life in prison, showing how serious these charges are. Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion carries a minimum sentence of 15 years and a maximum of life, while the racketeering conspiracy charge can also result in a lengthy bid depending on the underlying predicate acts proven at trial. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content. According to his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, when Diddy was a free man, he used to perform crazy initiation rituals.
On the 3rd day, they would drink, party, be merry, and the men would have sex with each other.
The Lil Rod court documents show how Diddy, alongside Universal Music Group executives and other associates, are in a gang that allegedly lets Diddy groom and kill artists like Usher, Bieber, and Biggie. But now that he's in prison, the same prison Epstein died in, these initiation rituals he used to blackmail and groom people have taken on a much darker tone. Here's the truth of the prison called Hell on Earth. Diddy's House of Terrors and Rituals. Tragically, the downfall of music producer and rapper P. Diddy is being accompanied by a series of little dirty secrets dancing in the light of the day. One of the horrifying secret occurrences is his gang initiation ritual, which has been characterized by paying homage to certain spirits at midnight during the full moon, and a night of endless homosexual activities by the initiates.
People who believe in the cult was looking for that moon on 12/12 at 12 a.m. And they were doing spiritual rituals at that time.
Who is this dude and how did he know this? This is Gene Deal, a former celebrity bodyguard who has done extensive protection work for Bad Boy Records and was P. Diddy's personal bodyguard for a number of years. He was even on the scene as Puffy's personal bodyguard on The Night Rapper, the notorious Big, was shot and killed. Now that you know who Gene Deal is, let's proceed with his shocking revelation about Diddy's wild ritual. The celebrity bodyguard explained that on the last day of the ritual, after the full moon has been sighted and the seasons are changed, that's when people...
They paid homages to certain sacrifices and homages to certain idols. And on the third day, they would drink, party, be merry, and the men would have sex with each other.
Shockingly, Gene Deal is not holding back any information. He is spilling all the beans about the ritual process Sean Diddy Combs indulges in. And you heard him. On the third day, he explained that the men would exchange gifts as they drink and marry, then wrap up the night by having sex with each other.
If you don't believe it, look it up for yourself.
Coming straight up from the comment section, this dude has a whole lot to say about the ritual Gene Deal was talking about. The ritual you mentioned is called the cremation of care, and traditionally a baby or child is burnt as a sacrifice to deity called Moloch. Most elites celebrate this at the Bohemian Grove. The root of this go back to Roman festivals dedicated to the god Satanius made popular by Emperor Caligula. It's more based in Satanism than what most people call paganism. Just wow. However, Diddy's former personal bodyguard is not the only one running their mouth about the extremely shocking lifestyle they experienced at Diddy's. Musician Usher, who was entrusted in Diddy's custody at the age of 13, said he saw very curious things when he lived with the music mogul. The You Got It Bad musician, 45, appeared on the Howard Stern show in 2016, where he opened up about his time living with Diddy for a year when he was 13 years old.
Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
Usher then recalled that there were famous artists like Biggie Smalls, Lil' Kim, Craig Mack, Faith Evans, and Mary J. Blige, who were also hanging around at the time. When asked if he was staying up until 4 a.m. partying with Diddy and his entourage, Usher said he could, and actually stayed up longer than them. In a different interview with Rolling Stone in 2004, Usher revealed that P. Diddy exposed him to a different lifestyle, specifically to a different style of sex. He explained, "It's so hot in the industry, man. There was always girls around. You'd open a door and see somebody doing it, or several people in a room having an you never knew what was going to happen." In February 2024, the musician and stepper also opened up to People's Magazine about the crazy lifestyle he experienced at Diddy's Flavor Camp. He recalled how he was able to meet the big tops of the industry at a very early age, and also witnessed the making of some of the greatest albums in the industry. He recalled, "I can remember Outkast making their first records and being able to hear Rico Wade work on these songs, literally sleeping in this man's living room, being in the dungeon, just kind of being around and just trying to figure out who's who." But here's where it gets crazier. After experiencing most of the fun of his life and meeting the right connections in the industry as a young boy, Howard Stern asked the musician if he would like to send his son to one of those Diddy's flavor camps to acquire the experience he did. His response revealed a deeper meaning.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
No.
Hold up. Did you see how straight up he came with that? No, he is not about to make the same mistake of sending his offspring to experience what he did. These two comments represent the reaction of most people to this 2016 interview. This person reiterated, "Would you ever send your son to Puffy camp?" No. He is laughing, but you can see the pain in his eyes. It still haunts him. He got passed around by the entire industry. It's not worth sacrificing your soul for silver and gold. And another person added, "Him answering No to the question at the end, tell me everything I need to know about what Usher experienced, shaking my head. To be honest, most people think that Hell No was very telling. In another light, producer Lil Rod's grooming process into Diddy's lifestyle is perhaps one of the craziest experiences of his life. It appears that when Diddy picked up the phone and called Lil Rod to be part of the brains behind his The Love album, his life has not been the same again. The initiation ritual process was terrifying, shocking, and diabolical. Sadly, he endured all of that crazy stuff because it came with a promise of a Grammy.
I took a year out straight working on this album. That album is the Love album, Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not.
Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr. is speaking out for the first time since filing a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs in February. In the lawsuit, Lil Rod alleges Combs sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him while he traveled and lived with the rapper between September 2022 and November 2023. In an interview with Rolling Stone, the 38-year-old music producer said he feared for his safety and his life. He also tagged Diddy as a monster. Lil Rod also alleges that Diddy did not pay him for his services after producing 9 songs off the album. I'm broke. I have no source of income right now. Every month I'm trying to figure out how the bills are going to get paid. Here I am standing up for justice, for what I believe is right for my life, and I'm being punished for that. I'm blackballed for sure, he said in the interview. Anyway, before we go deep into Lil Rod's allegations and lawsuit, take a look at this creepy footage of Diddy with young Justine Bieber detailing how the events of their next 48 hours together was supposed to be unfolded.
He's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
And I remember at the time, most people were concerned about what an adult was doing with a 14-year-old in an undisclosed location and doing undisclosed activities. However, in the most shocking turn of events, an inmate from prison could not settle with the traumatic events he experienced during his time in a Michigan nightclub with Diddy in 1997. So you know what he did? He filed a $100 million lawsuit against the rapper and won based on default judgment because neither Diddy nor his lawyer showed up for the virtual hearing. The mind-blowing case was set in motion by Derek Cardello Smith, an inmate at Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility, Michigan, who is known for his long history of challenging the judicial system with civil lawsuits. Derek Cardello Smith is currently serving 75% of jail time for criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping charges, but did not allow his jail time to restrain him from seeking justice after being sexually assaulted by the entertainment mogul nearly 3 decades ago. Hold up. The lawsuit claims that Cardello Smith and rapper P. Diddy met while he was working at a Detroit area restaurant in 1997. During a night of drinking and weed smoking, they reportedly had sex with a group of women, according to the suit. Cardello Smith said he felt a man's hand touching him, which he claims was Diddy's. According to 51-year-old Cardello Smith, I then went to get another drink and Sean asked me if I needed something else. I said no, and he said, "Here, drink this one." And I thought it was another glass of Jim Beam, so I took it because I had sat one down in the other room, and then I drank some more. And I stayed sitting there, and I began getting drowsy and started to pass out. And then Sean Combs said to me, "I added a little something to it for you. I will get that from you anyway, one way or another." And then I passed out.
And he made me a financial offer of $2.3 million to allow what happened to me to go away.
Now here's where it gets spicy. Cardello Smith then provided prison facility information with Diddy's name logged into the visitation record, which allowed him to claim that P. Diddy offered him $2.3 million to dismiss the lawsuit after he filed it. During the August hearing, Derek Cardello Smith told the court that P. Diddy persuaded him to drop the $100 million lawsuit and accept an out-of-court settlement, saying, "You know how we get down." Cardello then replied, "I disagree with how you get down." In that regard, the court granted his motion for a restraining order.
Your motion for a temporary restraining order was granted. I've signed it. And so we'll get that processed and back to you. And then you'll have to obviously serve that on the parties.
However, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, refuted the judge's statement about his client being properly served with the lawsuit. He said that his client looks forward to having this judgment swiftly dismissed. If their claims stick, the case would be called back and Cardello Smith would have to prove his allegations and claims in court, the mogul in custody. Some people said the simultaneous home raids by federal agents on 2 of Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles earlier this year were signs that the rapper would soon be going down R. Kelly's path. Well, they were right, because on Monday, the embattled music producer and rapper was arrested in a Manhattan hotel in New York City, barely 24 hours after the news of the $100 million judgment against him went viral. At the time of the arrest, it was unclear what the charges against him were because he was arrested based on a sealed indictment by a federal grand jury. According to TMZ, just a couple of hours hours before the rapper was arrested, he was confidently strolling the streets of New York City, greeting and taking selfies with fans alongside his son, Christian King Combs. Sources reported to TMZ that the rapper's arrest was scheduled for Tuesday morning, but due to some complications, Homeland Security surprised the rapper in a Midtown hotel where he was staying and arrested him based on a sealed indictment issued by the Southern District of New York. It has been confirmed that Diddy was taken into federal custody in Lower Manhattan. It appears the action was taken in connection with the ongoing criminal investigation into alleged sex trafficking and other offenses that led to search warrants being issued and executed at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. A courtroom sketch shows P. Diddy in his first courtroom appearance following the indictment where the charges against him were read and litigated. According to the 14-page federal grand jury indictment, Sean Diddy has been charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. According to news reports, as expected, at the hearing in Manhattan, the rapper pleaded not guilty to all the charges labeled against him and has tried to bond his way out of jail, but to no avail.
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
It was then reported that the music producer spent his first night behind bars in one of the most notorious jail facilities in the world, Hell on Earth. This facility's name feels so intense and suggestive of the horrible living conditions as described by Inside Edition news reporter Les Trent.
How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here.
Unfortunately, for someone like Diddy who had enjoyed a life of luxury, comfort, and freak-offs, he would definitely find a hard time adapting in his new environment where he has only a half-inch mattress without a pillow, plastic chair, and just 5 fit spaces to move around. Reports say that Diddy's lawyer Mark Agnifilo told the judge that the facility is inhumane and a total tragedy. Hence, he is trying all he can to keep Diddy out of jail. His attorneys were so eager to keep him out of jail to the extent they are offering his $48 million mansion in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Inside Edition reported that Diddy's lawyers offered to restrict female visitors from visiting his house if granted bail, except for his mother, sisters, and mothers of his children. However, the judge refused to bend. After spending a night in Hell on Earth, CBS News reported that the music mogul walked into the courtroom for his bail appeal hearing looking calm and humble. However, despite the confidence and the calm fronting he walked in with, the federal judge denied him bail again, saying that if released, Diddy is more likely to tamper with evidence and/or witnesses. This is largely because prosecutors accused Combs of witness tampering, saying at the hearing yesterday that the rap mogul's employees tried to ensure his ex-girlfriend Cassie and hotel employees wouldn't say anything about a beating at a Los Angeles hotel 8 years ago. They argued that video of the assault, which captured Diddy kicking and stomping on the singer Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, disappeared from the hotel's server before it was later obtained and published by CNN. According to authorities, bags of pink powder were found in Diddy's hotel room during his arrest. After Diddy flew to New York to await arrest 2 weeks ago on the advice of his lawyers, bags of pink powder were discovered in his hotel room. Although the powder was not tested, the prosecutors said it appeared to be narcotics and that similar bags previously seized at Combs' properties during the home raids tested positive for drugs, including ecstasy. Note that during the same raid, 1,000 bottles of baby oils were also retrieved from Diddy's residence. It is why some people think it would be hard for Diddy to get out of this mess because he spent his entire career working tirelessly to retire in prison. As evidence, authorities have interviewed more than 50 witnesses and collected dozens of cell phones, laptops, and hard drives, and they have a video that they claim shows the coerced sex and heinous acts that Diddy is accused of orchestrating. Hold up, guys. Let's not forget Lil Rod Jones' February lawsuit against Diddy. According to producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones' 73-page court document, due to his job description, which required filming P. Diddy at all times, he has secured 100 hours of footage showing P. Diddy alongside his associates and guests engaging in a series of illegal activities, which includes the use of ecstasy drugs and distribution of unregistered firearms. His lawsuit alleges that the A-list rapper has been involved in sex trafficking and assault on Lil Rod and other victims, including minors. Lil Rod's accusations, as well as the grand jury indictment, portray the rapper as a horrifying abuser and monster. However, in his defense, Diddy's lawyer warned that his client should not, in any way, be mentioned in the same sentence as some of the country's most notorious criminals. According to NBC News, the music mogul's defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said Combs is not disgraced singer R. Kelly, sex cult leader Keith Raniere, or accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Mark Agnifilo objected to the claims of the federal grand jury indictment that his client committed sex trafficking and other sexual assault-related charges. He referred to Diddy's crime as only cheating and being unfaithful over a dark period. He told the court, "This is different. These were consenting adults." Funnily, he added, "This is evidence not of sex trafficking, but of being caught being unfaithful." In his argument to grant bail for Diddy, Mark reminded the court he was in a 10-year loving relationship through dark periods. Although the first trial seemed to have gone out of their favor, Diddy's lawyer is still hopeful for bail in order to get his client out of hell on earth. He revealed that the rapper planned on surrendering to authorities before he was arrested in New York. While talking to reporters outside the courtroom, Mark Agnifilo said, "Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence." Then he proceeded to assert his claims that Diddy is not afraid and he would fight to the finish. There's nothing that the government said in their presentation today that changes anyone's mind about anything. Why was Diddy arrested?
All right, happening right now, hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs is in a federal courtroom this morning. The indictment was just unsealed, revealing that Combs is facing charges of trafficking and racketeering.
To be honest, Diddy's arrest did not meet anyone as a surprise. The beginning of 2024 kicked off with a waving flag announcing Diddy's tragic descent. I mean, with the spree of lawsuits and assault-related allegations that were fast rising against the rapper, like his hits on Billboard Hot 100, it was only a matter of time before the feds came for him. Reading through the 14-page indictment was a jaw-dropping moment for me, as the charges against the rapper are too heavy for the mouth to hold. Nevertheless, I will break it down for you. The grand jury indictment against Sean Diddy Combs alleges 3 serious charges centered on the rapper's lifestyle dating back to the 90s, when the applause and attention were all on him. On count 1, the grand jury charged him with racketeering conspiracy, which alleges that the music mogul has, over the decades of his career, abused, threatened, and coerced men and women around him to fulfill his wild desires while simultaneously protecting his reputation. Just like many other people, you might be wondering how the rapper was able to do all these extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile things and still appear like a saint bearing the name Love. Well, according to the indictment, to do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engage in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Disturbingly, P. Diddy's pattern of abuse hinges on the manipulation of women and other people around him to participate in highly orchestrated performances with commercial workers, most times for his pleasure. But this is where I knew the rapper would be gone for long. The federal grand jury has tagged most of the businesses and enterprises led by Diddy as a criminal enterprise. And you know what that means, right? According to the indictment, Sean Diddy Combs and other known and unknown associates are members of a criminal enterprise called the Combs Enterprise. The federal grand jury alleges that since 2008, up to the time of their filing, these members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, trafficking and interstate transportation for the purpose of According to the indictment, the purpose of the enterprise includes fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to Combs' gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial workers. On count 2 of the federal grand jury indictment, P. Diddy is charged with trafficking. The grand jury alleges that between the period of 2009 to 2018 in the Southern District of New York, where Diddy's enterprise is stationed, and elsewhere, Sean Diddy Combs engaged in interstate and foreign commerce in which he knowingly recruited, enticed, and transported a person tagged as Victim 1 to engage in commercial with disregard to the fact that Victim 1 was engaging in commercial due to force, fraud, and coercion. On count 3, the grand jury charged the embattled music producer and A-list rapper Sean Diddy Combs with transportation to engage in According to the indictment, between the period of 2009 and 2024, Diddy, who has been tagged as the defendant, knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that the individual engages in prostitution. The grand jury further alleged that the music mogul willfully caused the transportation of female victims and commercial workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in It is not a surprise to know that most people believe that Diddy's arrest, the federal grand jury indictment, and the previous home raids were attracted by the horrifying 2016 hotel hallway footage obtained by CNN in which Diddy was seen physically abusing ex-girlfriend Cassie. According to CNN, the video was from an incident in March 2016. It captures multiple angles. Cassie, whose name is Cassandra Ventura, alleged in a federal lawsuit in November that Combs and physically abused her, including punching, beating, kicking, and stomping her over the course of their relationship. However, shockingly, the lawsuit was settled the day after it was filed. Cassie Ventura anchored her courage to call Diddy out on New York's Adult Survivors Act, which allows victims of domestic abuse and assault to make a case regardless of when it happened. According to her, with the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act fast approaching, it became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life. In the video, Cassie Ventura exits a hotel room and walks to a bank of elevators. Diddy, holding a towel around his waist, runs down a hall after Ventura. He grabs her by the back of the neck and throws her to the floor. Still holding his towel closed with one hand, he then turns to kick her. The video shows. As Ventura is on the ground, Combs retrieves a purse and suitcase from the floor near the elevators. He turns around and kicks Ventura, again as she lies motionless on the floor. About 4 seconds transpire between the two kicks, according to the video. He then briefly drags Ventura by her sweatshirt toward a room before walking away. After the video was released, Diddy shamefully offered an apology online, claiming that he was in a bad place and he had sought therapy and now fully recovered. But you know what? Just when Diddy thought it was over, another lawsuit slapped him, and then another one. Then they kept coming. I'm sure you still remember the events of February 26, 2024. Yes, Lil Rod filed a lawsuit against his boss, Diddy, in which he alleged that he was subjected to unwanted advances by associates of Diddy at Diddy's direction during his stay in the rapper's house. Disturbingly, he also claims that Diddy forced him to have with workers. According to producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones' 73-page court document, the A-list rapper has been involved in trafficking and assault on Lil Rod himself and other victims, including minors. But here is where it gets crazier. The lawsuit identified rapper 50 Cent's former girlfriend and the mother of one of his children, Daphne Joy, as one of the alleged workers. The lawsuit also alleges that P. Diddy regularly hosted trafficking parties with underage women and illegal drugs, and implies record label executives who looked the other way financially benefited from access to celebrities and dignitaries, including the British royal Prince Harry. However, Prince Harry is not accused of any wrongdoing or of attending parties himself. Without a doubt, Lil Rod's lawsuit feels like a wide, deep, never-ending dungeon dug to bury rapper P. Diddy and everything he had ever worked for. But again, we should not forget that in November 2023, shortly after Cassie's lawsuit, Joey Dickerson Neal filed a lawsuit alleging that Combs her, assaulted her, and secretly recorded the assault while she was a college student in 1991. It seems the rapper's freaky, disgusting escapades date back to the early 90s. According to the lawsuit cited by NBC News, Joey Dickerson Neal claimed that on 3rd December 1991, Diddy asked her out on a dinner date, which she reluctantly agreed to, but that turned out to be the worst day of her life. She claimed that Diddy and abused her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Just like a pattern, her lawsuit also alleges that Diddy recorded the abuse and showed it to his friends and associates. Although she reported the case to the police in New York and New Jersey and also spoke to prosecutors, she was told by her colleagues they were terrified that Combs would retaliate against them and that they would lose future business and music opportunities if they made a statement in support of. Interestingly, according to news reports, between November until present, 3 more women have come forward with lawsuits in the Southern District of New York, alleging that they were assaulted by music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. As a matter of fact, 2 of the women alleged they were minors at the time of the abuse. Interesting times ahead, my fellow. If you love this video, click on the card showing on your screen for more videos.